I feel like it's been no secret that the community hasn't been happy with the Grammys lately because there's been reports of corruption. There's been so many snubs over the last couple of years. And now there's that question of, are they still even relevant? And are they on a decline? And factually, yes, they are. Because if you look at the viewership of the Grammys these last couple of years, it's pretty crazy to see that they've been going in this downward spiral. So looking back at 2019, there were 19 million Americans that watched the Grammys.
That's massive.
2020, 18 million Americans that watched the Grammys. So
Okay.
a decrease of a million there. And then in 2021, last year, there were only 8 million Americans that tuned in for the Grammys. And what's crazy is that in its peak, like let's say in 2012, the Grammys attracted 39 million viewers. And even if you look at the mid-2010s decade, it was around that 20-25 million range. So now we're seeing that in 1 year, from 2020 to 2021, there's a decrease of 53%. And if you were to ask me, I see that being the case for this year as well, because we have the Grammys coming up at the time of this recording in about a week. And I don't see these numbers really, skyrocketing at all. I feel like there's going to continue to plummet. And the reason behind that is that they've lost credibility. So how do you feel about this whole situation? And do you think that the Grammys have made too many mistakes over the years to even be taken seriously?
Well, listen, I think they're obviously taken seriously. I think that they're still, super credible when it comes to certain things. And there's obviously a fan base for it. But you do see in the statistics that things are declining for them. And I think one of the biggest reasons for that jump, from, let's say, that 53% decline is probably because of COVID. That's probably what had happened. And everyone saw a hit. And I think that a couple of reports had said that that's what, was the reason for that decline. But we'll have to see this year. It's very interesting, and it's a conversation that's been happening because a lot of people get upset over the snubs, and it's been a thing for years. And not only are the fans talking about it at this point, but the artists are talking about it at this point. Like, there's certain people that refuse to even, submit their albums to the Grammys at this point because of the snubs. But let's go through a bit of a history of this, because there's some really big ones in here that really make you question who's doing this voting system and why are certain albums winning over other ones. So example, Macklemore wins Best New Artist and Best Rap Album over Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City in 2014. And I mean, listen, you could have whatever subjective take you want to have about this one right here.
Come on, man.
But Macklemore literally came out and said that I did not deserve that Grammy, and actually revealed a text message convo with Kendrick Lamar. So
he knew they fucked up.
Absolutely. Come on. Okay, so listen to this next one. Taylor Swift's album 1989 wins Album of the Year over Kendrick Lamar's masterpiece To Be a Butterfly in 2016.
That's the worst fucking one for me,
That one's horrible. Listen to the next one. Adele's album 25, which, by the way, I love that album, wins Album of the Year, Song of the Year, and Record over Year over Beyonce's Lemonade album. So didn't give Beyonce a single one. Bruno Mars's 24K Magic wins Album of the Year in 2018 over 444 and Damn. I like 24K Magic, but I think 444 and Damn are much better albums. But what seems to be going on here is that there's this trend of snubbing certain artists. And, Kendrick Lamar has won multiple Grammys. Jay-Z has a load of Grammys.
Should have won more, the two of them.
There's certain categories that come out and you're like, dude, what's going on here? Even at that, like taking an album like Igor and placing it in like the rap group, dude, like, did you even listen to the album? Like, was that a thing? So why do you think they fuck up like this? And why do you think so many people now are just like, I'm not even going to watch this at this point because I'm going to end up frustrated?
Yeah, well, you know what it is? I feel like the voters are just not in tune with the culture. I mean, if you take it back to Taylor Swift's album 1989, winning over To Pimp a Butterfly, it's an atrocious victory because if you listen to that album, it's a synth pop record that has little to no substance to it compared to one of the most revolutionary pieces of music that we've ever gotten in history. And when there's that much of a change, you have to start thinking, maybe there's some prejudice here. Maybe there's a bias towards certain genres, because it's the same sentiment with 24K Magic from Bruno Mars winning in 2018. It's just another accessible pop record, which, yes, it brought back these old retro sounds. It brought back sounds of funk and soul.
I really like the album, though.
Compared to 444 and Damn won a fucking Pulitzer Prize. 444 was one of the most vulnerable album experiences that we've gotten from a rapper ever. And that's going to win over, another Bruno Mars album that isn't game-changing. It didn't pioneer anything new. Like, I think there's a lot of questions to be asked there, but then you had The Weeknd in 2021 that got no nominations for After Hours.
Oh, that was crazy.
That was
fucking blasphemy.
That was like the final straw for me. Once I saw that, I'm like, you guys are really out of the loop, especially that they tend to like recognize albums that are commercially successful.
Like pop records.
After Hours spent a month at #1 on the Billboard 200 chart. Blinding Lights was the biggest fucking song of The Weeknd's career. He literally ran all of 2020. He had all the huge moments associated to it. He had all the critical acclaim. And what ended up happening, apparently, was that it came down to politics. It came down to, oh, you're performing at the Super Bowl? Well, you can't perform and be nominated and be included in our event. And it just goes to show that right now, my problem with the Grammys is the fact that it's no longer about giving a prestigious award to someone for a musical achievement. And you see those flaws within the governance of the Grammys, the way that it's ran. And there was this huge scandal that actually took place in 2019 when Deborah Dugan was appointed as the first female CEO and president of the Recording Academy, which is responsible for the Grammys. And she was fired 6 months after she was appointed because she actually accused the Grammys of having a corrupt voting process and secret voting committees that decided the final candidates for the awards. And she claims that they would often give the awards to artists that they had previous relationships with.
Wow.
This is the CEO of the Grammys speaking. This is not just any random journalist. So when that happens, and what's crazy is that a year earlier before that, the CEO, who goes by the name of Neil Portnow, he was fired because he made comments like, oh, there's not a lot of women in these categories and they're being underrepresented because they're not stepping it up enough musically. Like, those are the kinds of comments that are being made from people that are running the show. So they're not even trying to hide their biases at that point. And it's fucking troubling for me, man.
No, it is. And there's definitely a lot that goes into it. But something that was really interesting to me also was, back in 2021, Drake had gotten, on IG and, had put something out for The Weeknd because that whole situation was absolutely atrocious. So listen to this. I think we should stop allowing ourselves to be shocked every year by the disconnect between the impactful music and these awards and just accept that what once was the highest form of recognition may no longer matter to the artists that exist now and the ones that come after. It's like a relative you keep expecting to fix up, but they just won't change their ways. The other day, I said that The Weeknd was a lock for either album or song of the year, along with countless other reasonable assumptions, and it just never goes that way. That is a great time for somebody to start something new that we can build up over time and pass on to generations to come. So now listen, okay, it's one thing when the community's talking about it, but when you have, some of the most commercially successful artists in the industry talking about this and how, they completely ignore everything that's going on and it's really ran on bias, you have to start asking questions. Why am I tuning into this event? And listen, we're going to end up reacting to the Grammys because it is something that, is still a staple within music. It happens every year, but over time, if they don't start stepping up their game and really taking this seriously, there's going to be a lot of questions asked. Because, example, you as a listener now, you're watching that performance, right? Like, it's a show at the end of the day. And in the back of your mind, you know that you're getting fucking gypped. Like, you know that what's happening and what's being exposed to you as multimedia is not real, and what's going on behind it is completely biased on whatever sort of basis they want it to be. Why would you continue to go watch that, especially when that logo and that Academy Award, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is so prestigious and has such a luxurious aura around it, is now frauding its viewership? And as a music fan, because this is coming from the music fans, right? Like, we're the people that are watching this. It's insulting at a certain point. It's like you're there and you're realizing that they don't want to, put quality in front of you. They want to put something that's going to get them headlining. And another thing is that Eminem was talking about this situation, and he was just speaking about how they get you to come to the show and they just get you to do shows or whatever it is just for the publicity. Oh, you're here, you've attended the show, and then they'll gyp you of your award that you merit. So even at that, not only are they gypping us, but they're gypping the artists. And I feel as if everyone now is just like, okay, enough is enough at this point.
Yeah, 100%. And I just feel like you said, once the artists start speaking out, there is a real issue because you have artists like The Weeknd that's denouncing the Grammys. You have Drake, who actually withdrew his nominations, because he was nominated this year for Best Rap Album with Certified Lover Boy and Best Rap Performance for Way Too Sexy. And he literally withdrew them because he didn't want to be associated with the awards show. You have some of the biggest artists in the world that are saying fuck it. You have Zayn Malik, who went and dropped some tweets about how corrupt the Grammys are. You had Lil Wayne and Nicki Minaj saying how they don't fuck with the Grammys either. And from a fan's perspective, it really pisses me off just because I absolutely love the concept and idea of having a prestigious awards show come out every year and honoring the best music of that year. That makes me feel like I'm getting to see my favorite artists getting trophies that they deserve and that they fucking earned for their hard work on the biggest stage, given to them by an academy filled with working producers, musicians, artists, their peers pretty much, that have taken the time to consider all these projects and really, present them with these awards, because I think that's a necessity. We have to, give the flowers to the artists that, we appreciate over time, but it can't be the Grammys anymore. There's been too many flaws, and I think that what I'm waiting for now as a fan is a new platform, a new awards show that really respects all genres, respects all artists, and is more transparent about the way that they operate, because that's the whole thing too, is that it's a fucking mystery the way that these voting procedures go on. And
and listen to this.
I did my research on how like the whole process works, and it's fucking confusing.
And no, not only that is it confusing, but what they're probably feeding you isn't even true at that point. Like that's another thing, is that who knows the way it goes on behind closed doors. When you have your CEO talking about her own company, that is very fucking concerning. When you have all of these artists that are coming together and being like, listen, there's something shady going on to their fans that they care about. There's definitely something going on, and now it's getting to this point where we're going to have conversation about it. So guys, in the comment section, how do you feel about this conversation? Because listen, they're still putting up millions of views for the event. It's still going somewhat strong at this point, but the decline is inevitable, and it's happening at this moment. So let's wait and see what happens for 2022, but thank you so much for coming in today. We really appreciate you guys. And listen, if you guys want to access our podcast on audio platforms such as iTunes or Spotify, the links are in the description. Not only that, but we're doing content like this on a weekly basis at NFR Podcast. So hit the subscribe button, smash the like button if you like this video, and we'll catch you on the next one.